Alright guys, today we're going to replace a Wii U digitizer. Seen a bunch of LCDs but not digitizer replacement. The LCD on this one works fine. The digitizer though, when you touch it, nothing happens. That's the digitizer I ordered. That's the little connection, the only connection I can see that we need to look for when we open this thing up. First thing you want to do is turn it over on its back. There's going to be 2 screws on the back. You just want to remove those 2 screws. It's a battery cover. Lift off the battery cover, go ahead and unhook the battery, remove the battery. Next thing is there's going to be 10 screws, and most of them are covered up by this little black tape right there. And you're just going to have to get in there. You can use a screwdriver. Tweezers work best for me, or a little razor to make those where you can get the screw out. Now this is a different type of screw. It's a Y screwdriver. And when I ordered my digitizer, it came with one. But if you ever fix like an iPhone 7, you can use the same Y screwdriver. It works just fine. But we're going to go ahead and take out, I believe there's 10 screws. And you're just going to go around and take them out one by one. But yeah, 10 screws total. Kind of long screws too, actually. But that is the screwdriver that they sent me with the digitizer. And once you get all the screws out, you're going to remove it very carefully. And inside you're going to see there's that one connection. You just need to get that connection loose before you separate the back cover. The R and L button kind of fell off, but that's okay, we can put those back. Now we're going to start disconnecting all these cables from that main board right there. And I'm going to try to go one by one just so you can see. But most of these right here, like that one, just has a little flap. Here's another one over here that's connected. That's your digitizer right there. That's where the digitizer is going to connect. So right here, we're going to go ahead, and this one has a little flap. The gray part, you're just going to flip it up. If you can't get that out with your finger, go ahead and use your tweezers. Same thing over here. Flip the gray part up, pull it to the side. This one has a little, right here, you got to pull this one out. Some of those are not easy. You can use your tweezers if you need to. This one right here has a little button on top. If you push it, it makes that release a lot easier. Here's another one of those you just pull out. Another one of those, pull out. That one, same way. You push the top, comes out pretty easy. This is the LCD. It has a little black lip. You pull that down, you can pull the LCD out. If you have trouble, once again, use your tweezers. But be very careful of that flex cable. That is your LCD flex cable, so you want to be very careful. Here's your digitizer one, same thing. If you can't get it with your fingers, go ahead and pull it out with your tweezers. Here's one more little connection at the bottom. I think I recorded that twice, sorry about that. I think that was the same connection we just did. Here you go, you're gonna lift the gray up and pull out this last little connection, I believe is what should be the last one. Now there's going to be 4 screws that hold down this board. There's number 2, number 3, and I thought that was it, but there's one kind of right there in the middle that I didn't see. So there goes number 4. Now the board should come loose. Now anytime you start pulling out the board, pull away very slowly so you can kind of see if anything is attached on the back side when you start pulling it. The only thing I can see is a white and a black cable. So we're going to try to get underneath those and pop those loose. Because if you start pulling on it, you can damage it. And with these little white and black cables, they control your, one goes to the volume, and the other one I believe is your L and R buttons. Those pop out and the motherboard comes right off. Just lay it to the side. Now we need to remove these 4 screws that are holding down the LCD. And once we remove this, we should be able to access the LCD and get to what we're looking for, the digitizer. So you're going to take out these 4 screws. If you need to pause the video or anything, feel free to. I've sped it up. We're just going to try to pry the digitizer, the LCD loose. Just go around it very gently. Don't put too much pressure in one spot. If it starts to wiggle in one area, move up to the top, wiggle it a little bit more up there, wiggle it on the left, wiggle it on the right. You want it to all come out at the same time. If it gets stuck somewhere and you pull on one side, you can damage the LCD pretty easy. So the digitizer is stuck to the LCD, but it's just it just got adhesive around the sides, really. If you want to, you can take a heat gun and heat this up. It'll make it a little bit easier. But the adhesive on here was really not that tough. So I just took my little pry tool. It's a little Sesamo tool, and I'm just going around the sides, trying to pull off this digitizer away from the LCD. Up here on the top, just watch that LCD cable. Make sure you don't bend it or cut it on accident, or you're going to end up having to buy an LCD, and they're a little bit more expensive. This digitizer I ordered off of Amazon. It was about $10, so not bad at all. And it came with a screwdriver, the little Y screwdriver, which you're going to need. But there's your LCD. We'll put it out of the way. And now it's got this little black frame over it. And I thought this little black frame had a little bit of plastic, like a plastic glass on it, protector, but it doesn't. It's just a real thin plastic frame that basically helps set the Wii U in place and makes it line up straight. So when you pull this off, be very careful. It does break fairly easy. I broke mine up here at the top, but it's nothing you can't put back together. It's just real flimsy plastic, and basically, like I said, it's just a guide to line up the LCD screen and the front cover straight. But we're just going to keep pulling it off until we get it. It's off. You can tell I broke the top of it a little bit, but that's okay. There's the old digitizer. Here's the new digitizer. And they usually have plastic on both sides, so go ahead and peel all that plastic off. Now we're going to take the LCD, and I'm going to put adhesive back exactly where it was when I cut it using my prying tool. And you're just going to, I use double-sided tape. I really like this black tape because you can see exactly where you lay it. And when you put it down, you just want to go over it with your finger or some tweezers or something to make sure that it sticks down really good. But I like this black tape because you can tell exactly where you lay it. I have some red tape that's clear. And man, when you put that down, sometimes you can't tell if it's new adhesive, old adhesive, if you've used it or what. So I really like this black double-sided tape a lot. And it sticks really good. And usually on this adhesive, they come pre-adhesed. Man, they don't give you enough. So I always like to use my own adhesive. And once we get that squared away, we're going to go ahead and grab our digitizer, and we're just going to line it up on top. Just as square as you can do it. You'll kind of see in that little black frame, I put it on top, and you just got to kind of move it around a little bit to get it exactly where it needs to fit. If you put it in the little hole right here and it doesn't line up right, just take that little black part off and line it up a little bit better. But once you get that on there, you feel like it's good, you're going to go ahead and start putting the LCD back just the same way it was in there. Move all these little cables out of the way and make sure that nothing gets pinched, cramped, or anything, or you're going to have some double work to do. Now once it's in there, push it down good. Now you're going to put this little cover on the back. Once again, just make sure all the cables are out of the way. You don't want to screw something down and get a cable underneath there and have to unscrew it and go back. Once all the cables are out of the way, there's only 4 screws screw those screws back in. You're basically going to do the opposite you did to get it out. And now we're just going to put back the connections. Doesn't really matter what kind of order you go in. You just want to make sure you put everything back. If you find any connection that's loose, everything has to go back, or something on the Wii U handle is not going to work properly. So just make sure everything is snapped in, everything is good. Everything that you can possibly connect is connected good. Everything matches up good. You can even put these cables in and pull a little bit on it. But all the cables are in now. We're going to go ahead, and this was that last connection. You're going to snap it in there, and that was that final. That was the first one we did at the very first. And then you're just going to line up your L and R buttons and just gently push on it and make sure there's no pinch points. Right here, the little white wire was sticking up a little bit, so I moved it around a little bit, and it worked out good. Go ahead and hook up the battery. We just want to make sure that the touch is working. We know the LCD is good. We just got to make sure the touch is working. And of course, this one wasn't charged, so I'm going to charge it up real quick. So I charged it and I start messing with it. Digitizer is working, which is good. The left joystick works. The right joystick on this home page, the right joystick's not going to do anything. Just so you're aware, if it doesn't do anything, you're not scared and have to take the whole thing apart. The right joystick just on the front just doesn't work. Wants me to connect to a TV, but I don't have one. But everything's working good. All the buttons, X, Y, A, B, those are all working. You can test those out. But that's pretty much it. That's how you replace a Wii U digitizer. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it.